Tough questions. Finding who's accountable. 16 WAPT News at 10 starts now.
2 officers down.
A child porn suspect fires on 3 Pearl police officers. In the end, one paid the ultimate price.
Tonight, dozens gather for a prayer vigil to remember Officer Mike Walter.
And the JPS School Board says they've picked their new superintendent, but are parents supporting the choice?
Now, your weather first.
Skies are clear outside. It is warm and it is humid. Do expect increasing clouds first thing in the morning, and as the clouds thicken up, looks like our best chance of rain in 2 weeks coming tomorrow afternoon. Find out how much rain I think we'll get and if there's any other days with rain in the forecast, all coming up.
Thank you, David. We begin tonight with team coverage of the Pearl officer killed in a shootout. I'm Stephanie Maxwell.
And I'm Darren Dito. Just a short time ago, a memorial service, a vigil wrapped up for Officer Mike Walter that happened in Pearl. Dozens showed up to support him and his family. We will get to 16 WAPT's Aaron Kelly, who is live there in just a second. But first, we have to take a look back at how this dark day all began. Right here, detectives say a child porn suspect shot Officer Walter while he was trying to serve a search warrant this morning here at the Colony Park Apartments in Pearl.
What started as a routine warrant call turned into a deadly nightmare for Pearl police.
Colony Park Apartments, Pearson Road, multiple gunshots.
Investigators say 3 officers tried to arrest child porn suspect Carnell Gaines Jr. in his apartment. Police had a search warrant to search for pictures Gaines had allegedly taken of an underage victim. They say Gaines was hiding in the bathtub and came out shooting first. Those officers shot back, killing Gaines. Officer Mike Walter was critically wounded in the exchange. Crews scrambled to airlift him to UMC, but he died just before noon.
What can you say to somebody? His husband just died, and her daughter is younger than my oldest and older than my middle. I mean, I wish she's going to be without her daddy.
Officer Dave McCarley was shot in his hand and leg, and investigator Sean Terwilliger sustained injuries too. Both men are expected to recover.
A tragic time in our department. I know it's happened in other departments, but Lord knows I pray that it never happens again.
Officer Walter's colleagues called him a beacon of sunshine and a man who loved his job. Before becoming a cop, he played pro baseball for the Houston Astros from 1993 to 2000. His passing has hit the Pearl Police Department hard.
Every day that we put our boots on, every day that we put our pants on, every time we leave that house and kiss our families goodbye, we know that we might not be coming back.
Now, the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation is heading up this investigation. Now, earlier today, District Attorney Michael Guest says that he believes that the officers were justified in using lethal force. Stephanie.
Well, Darren, there was a huge show of solidarity tonight in Pearl. 16 WAPT's Aaron Kelly was there for a prayer vigil for that officer and his family. She joins us live to continue our coverage tonight. Aaron.
Good evening, Stephanie. The flag here outside Pearl City Hall is at half-mast in honor of investigator Mike Walter. Dozens came out here for a prayer vigil to remember the first officer from Pearl Police Department ever killed in the line of duty.
Be gracious unto you.
A song.
Thank you, oh God. We thank you, Lord.
A prayer and tears, all in memory of 37-year-old police investigator Mike Walter, killed in the line of duty.
That you'll feel that vacuum that's been created in their life today.
Barbara Bush came in support of the man she says wasn't just a great officer.
Mike was a soccer coach, and he was a daddy, and he was a husband, and that's how I knew him more than anything else.
Missing from the vigil were members of the Pearl Police Department, still coping with the loss. Wives held on tight to husbands serving in the nearby Brandon Police Department.
It just hits a little close to home when it's just one town over. And we have a daughter, and I just, you know, he is the love of my life. And I want him to come home to me every day.
We do some training with Mike, and it's just something you don't expect at all. You prepare for it, but you never expect it.
Pearl police say aside from his wife and 11-year-old daughter that he left behind, investigator Walter loved pro baseball. In fact, he played for the Jackson Generals and the Houston Astros. Live in Pearl, Aaron Kelly, 16 WAPT News.
Now, Aaron, any word on funeral arrangements yet?
You know, we talked to Lieutenant Butch Townsend from Pearl Police earlier tonight. He says that's something they're all going to be working on tomorrow. Stephanie.
Okay, as soon as we get it, we'll definitely pass it on. Aaron, thank you so much. Well, earlier today, the ResNews.com collected the dispatch calls just as officers learned about the shooting. Tonight, we edited some of those calls so you can hear how the response unfolded.
We got 2 officers down, Colony Park Apartments. Colony Park Apartments, two officers down. Becom, I want to go ahead and put Eric Carroll on standby. Colony Park Apartments, Pearson Road, multiple gunshot victims, including 2 police officers and a suspect. They're rolling at this time. It's going to be this grassy area just to the south of Pearson. I'm standing in it at this time. You're going to have some power lines directly to the south of it. 202, we copy your lines along the roadway. We copy you. You're clear to exit the area. 55 waiting on your arrival. We're exiting 20, hit 55 north, right? It's in for you got a clear path. Need to know, they want to know how many more officers we've got coming,
And one more recap of this deadly officer shooting. Police say Detective Mike Walter, that is, died at UMC today after a shootout with a child porn suspect. Pearl Police say 2 other officers were injured when they say the suspect, Carnell Gaines Jr., jumped out of a bathtub and started firing. Gaines was killed in the shootout, and 16 WAPT has confirmed that one of those 2 surviving officers has been treated and released. The other one has had surgery on his hand and should be okay.
Let's get to another developing story tonight. A decision from JPS on the next superintendent. The school board voted today to start negotiating a contract with Dr. Cedric Gray, who's currently superintendent of the Fayette County, Tennessee School District. That's him right there on your screen. The board approved Dr. Gray in a 5-2 vote, with Otha Burton and Tim Collins voting no. The board picked Dr. Gray over Dr. Dennis Carpenter, a deputy superintendent for the Newton County, Georgia school system. He was chosen from a pool of 71 applicants. New at 10, JPS is dealing with a lot of angry parents after it unveiled a plan to rezone the district.
What do we have to do to reverse what you all did in the dark? What do we have to do to take the secret out and put it back into the light?
And that's some of the emotion from tonight's school board meeting. The first meeting after we were first to tell you about that plan. It includes closing Bradley Elementary School and also turning Bailey Magnet High School into an APAC middle school. Bailey parents tell us they should have been included in this decision, and now their kids will suffer.
She came from Murrah High School. She did not do well at Murrah. She came over here, and also she was in the APAC. She came over here. Grades shot up. She's in the top 10. Straight A's and B's. And this is a family school.
When you make a decision about the school, the parents should have some input on that. And it should not be an overnight thing. It should be a year, a month in planning something.
Well, we are told this rezoning plan affects about 3,900 students.
New at 10, investigators say they are tracking down some leads in the case of a missing Crystal Springs woman. Copiah County Sheriff Harold Jones says investigators are running forensics on items found in the car that belongs to Linda Reed. The 65-year-old was last seen leaving Walmart Sunday night. Reed's car was found yesterday in the woods near the Crystal Springs exit off I-55. Investigators say she left her keys, glasses, and purse in the car. Officials believe she was abducted. Meanwhile, Copiah County authorities found the body of a man who was apparently hit and killed by a car. Authorities say the victim is 48-year-old Kevin Shaw. His body was found on Barlow Road just outside of Hazelhurst. Authorities are asking for the public's help in this hit and run. If you have any information, call Crime Stoppers at 601-355-TIPS. On to a surprise visit to Afghanistan. Today, President Obama delivered a speech outlining a timeline for winding down the war there.
The president also signed an agreement with the president of Afghanistan for removing all U.S. combat troops from the country by 2014. ABC's Karen Travers reports.
It was an historic moment, the first time a U.S. president addressed the nation live from a war zone.
My fellow Americans, we've traveled through more than a decade under the dark cloud of war. Yet here, in the pre-dawn darkness of Afghanistan, we can see the light of a new day on the horizon.
It's no coincidence that the president picked today, the one-year anniversary of the raid that killed Osama bin Laden, to make a surprise visit to the place that was once the terror leader's stronghold.
This time of war began in Afghanistan, and this is where it will end.
Under the cover of darkness, Air Force One landed at Bagram Airfield Tuesday evening. President Obama and Afghan President Hamid Karzai signed an agreement on the U.S. role there after 2014. That's when Afghan forces are expected to take control of their nation's security. But the deal is limited. It doesn't outline any specific troop levels or funding levels after that point. There are roughly 88,000 U.S. forces in Afghanistan right now. The surge troops are scheduled to come home by September, the remainder by the end of 2014. A senior administration official said it was important for the president to sign this deal in Afghanistan to reinforce the message that even after troops leave, the U.S. remains committed to the Afghan people.
The reason that the Afghans have an opportunity for a new tomorrow is because of you.
The latest ABC News Washington Post poll found that 66% of Americans, a record high, say the war in Afghanistan has not been worth fighting. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
According to the Pentagon, more than 1,800 American troops have been killed during the decade of war in Afghanistan. 88,000 remain stationed there. Well, today was a welcome homecoming for several local soldiers and their families.
Mama's baby.
How's it feel to be home?
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
You see it there, a lot of smiles and even some tears as the 112th and 113th Military Police Unit returned to Jackson. Those troops say they've been waiting for this day for a long time.
But this one right here, I have absolutely loved, missed, and just the smile and kisses I got just made it all worth it.
Well, the soldiers were stationed in Kuwait.
House leaders killed a bill today that would have allowed Jackson to vote on a 1% sales tax for sewer system repairs. The same bill passed by one vote in the Senate yesterday. Now, since it has failed, it could mean a $300 million fine from the EPA. The mayor says without the tax rate, payers, well, will have to pay extra for the repairs.
Ridgeland police are working to solve the city's first murder of the year. It happened last night at Ridgeland Ranch Apartments on County Line Road. Ridgeland police say they received a 911 call about shots fired at the complex shortly after 11. When they arrived, they found Jose Ortiz dead in the parking lot with a gunshot wound to his head.
Was anything taken?
That we're still trying to determine that. There were some valuable items that were still in the car. He had picked up some food from a restaurant. All that was still in the car.
Investigators aren't sure if Ortiz was targeted. Police say they have no motive or suspects. If you can help them track down a killer tonight, call Crime Stoppers. That number is 601-355-TIPS.
Unofficial results show that Natchez will get a new mayor. The numbers from the Democratic primary show Larry Butch Brown with 45%, Philip West with 39% of the vote, and the incumbent mayor Jake Middleton with only 15%. Brown and West will go to a runoff on May the 15th. That winner will continue to the June 5th general election.
Well, Dancing with the Stars is now down to the nitty-gritty with another dancer getting eliminated. So what does this mean for Alcorn State alum Donald Driver? Well, he is on to the next round, we can tell you that, but that is not the case for Jaleel White, better known as Urkel. He could not survive that dance-off against Disney star Rashawn Fagan. All three judges voted to keep Rashawn. The final six dance again Monday night. You can watch it right here on 16 WAPT. Well, hundreds of thousands of people take to the streets all over the world for May Day protests. Hear their message for big business.
And an overnight tornado causes lots of damage in Oklahoma. The latest reports on injuries and why several people had to be saved from rising floodwaters.
Rain chances go up tomorrow. Let me show you the Pinpoint Predictor Plus. By late morning, showers and even some thunderstorms breaking out down across the coastal areas of Mississippi. And look how they spread northward through the day. Find out how much rain I think we'll get. And, hey, maybe a couple days of rain? Find out. I'll be coming back in a couple minutes. You're watching 16 WAPT News.
You're watching 16 WAPT News at 10 with Stephanie Maxwell. Darren Dito. Weather with Chief Meteorologist David Hartman. And sports with Aslan Hodges. Tough questions. Finding who's accountable. 16 WAPT News continues.
1st of May and the warmest day of the year so far. We topped out at 88 degrees this afternoon, 64 the low, and sun up on your Wednesday. 612. Those days getting longer and longer, and compared to this time last week, we've added a little over 10 minutes of daylight. All right, 72 outside here in Jackson right now. The humidity is high, low 70s, high humidity. Certainly feels like a little taste of early summer out there, and may even see some of those summery showers and downpours tomorrow afternoon. Everybody in the low 70s, only falling to the upper 60s for a low temperature tonight. So our best chance of rain in 2 weeks is in the forecast for tomorrow, and some spots could get hit with pretty good downpour during the afternoon and evening. Disturbance passed off to the north. That high pressure system has been protecting us, but now it's sending a batch of moisture across the Gulf of Mexico. This little moisture pocket, combined with a disturbance coming out of Texas tomorrow, will be the impetus for a round of showers and thunderstorms. Local gully washers certainly possible with the downpours, especially south and southeast of the Jackson area during the course of the afternoon. So there it is, high pressure in control, round of showers and thunderstorms, perhaps shifting to our east as we head into Thursday. Still a chance of some hit and miss showers and thunderstorms on Thursday, but it looks like the heaviest could be off to our east. Here is that Pinpoint Predictor Plus, and during the evening time, there you see by late afternoon and evening time, still a potpourri of showers, thunderstorms around the area, and again, local downpours with the gully washing rain. Certainly a possibility. It all ends tomorrow evening. Clouds hang in. And then as we head to Thursday, there you can see the showers and thunderstorms. There'll be a couple across the central part of the state, but it looks like most of the downpours on Thursday will be in East Mississippi. We're at that time of the year where you get those afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms blowing up. 68 tonight, so temperature's not falling much at all. Light south wind at 5. Tomorrow, 83. Some spots could make it to about 85 degrees, but those showers and thunderstorms on the increase during the afternoon. Of course, thunder, lightning, and maybe a little gusty wind or two with some of the heavier downpours. Still a chance Thursday, and as we head into the weekend, maybe we'll see our first 90-degree reading. Rain chances not totally zero, but very small over the weekend. So the average first 90-degree reading is usually about May 13th. That'd be about a week and a half early if we...
Yeah.
Oh, goody. Thanks, David.
Here we go.
Yep.
Yeah. A young mother-to-be is wounded in a hail of bullets. The alleged shooter, her father, why officers say he opened fire on his family.
And the kids called him the cool teacher on campus, but police say he was pushing prescription meds to students. The tip that led to his arrest is next. You're watching 16 WAPT News at 10. Occupy Wall Street protesters took to the streets of New York City today in May Day demonstrations.
Well, they marched and chanted outside a Bank of America Corporation building. This year, the Occupy Wall Street movement theme is a day without the 99%. May Day protests were held in 125 cities in the U.S., plus Europe and Australia.
The hunt is on in Florida tonight for a shooter suspected of gunning down 3 people, including his pregnant daughter. 2 of them died. The pregnant woman has survived. Authorities believe the deadly shooting was sparked by a domestic dispute. 55-year-old Kevin Satterfield is accused of opening fire in the middle of night, killing his wife, Vicky Satterfield.
I miss her. She was my friend, and she was like my sister, and I loved her. She told me all the time she loved me.
Christian Martinez was also killed. His daughter, 21-year-old Heather, who is 8 months pregnant, was shot. Authorities say she and her baby should recover. Police are still looking for Kevin Satterfield.
A high school teacher in Iowa is accused of giving a student the prescription drug Xanax. 40-year-old Adam Jones of Council Bluffs was arrested Friday. Investigators believe Jones offered the anxiety medicine to a student who was claiming to be stressed out. An anonymous tip led investigators to a text about that drug offer. A tornado struck the Oklahoma town of Welch in Craig County last night. Several people had to be rescued from their flooded and damaged homes. High winds also knocked down trees and power lines. Authorities say there were several water rescues and a number of people suffered minor injuries from high wind and a tornado, but no one was seriously injured.
Atlanta firefighters are battling a 4-alarm blaze at Tyler Perry's studios tonight. Fire officials say the fire has damaged a building on the complex. Authorities say the fire started about 9 o'clock tonight. There are no reports of injuries so far. The 200,000-square-foot studio has 5 sound stages and a 400-seat theater. The cause of that fire remains under investigation. It was homecoming for an Ole Miss Rebel who took the mound tonight.
But did the Southern Miss Golden Eagles spoil the party at Trustmark Park? Highlights next in sports. You're watching 16 WAPT News at 10.
Now 16 WAPT Sports with Aslan Hodges.
Let's take you inside the park, a pair of playoff contests in the MAIS ranks. But before that, we'll begin with the college kids and the homecoming for an Ole Miss freshman. For more, let's bring in Ray Coleman.
Yeah, Aslan, thanks. Former Madison Central star Josh Laxer made his first start of the season today in the Rebels. And what better place to do it than in front of the friends and family at Trustmark Park. Before the game, though, there was a moment of silence for Pearl police officer Mike Walter, who was shot and killed in the line of duty today. Flags were also lowered at half-staff in his honor and memory. To the action now, the question would be, would Josh Laxer be a little nervous in his starting role? We'll find out a little later in the highlight, but this should help the freshman feel more at ease about the day. In the second inning, Ole Miss put up 2 runs, first on a RBI single from Will Allen, bringing home Matt Snyder from third base. Now Allen is on third, and this grounder from John Gatlin would bring him home as well. The Rebs would score 1 more run in the 4th. And from there, folks, Laxer was giving my Golden Eagles trouble all night long. He pitched 7 full innings, had 5 strikeouts on the night. His teammate R.J. Hively came in to take care of business in the 9th to make sure that the day was complete for Mr. Laxer, sitting down the side 1-2-3. Ole Miss blanks Southern Miss 3-0.
Before this game, Coach B sat me down and told me to have the mentality like I did in high school, and that's just to have that bulldog mentality and go after hitters. And I think this year I've been worried about nibbling the corners and stuff, and he's told me to go after hitters, and that helped me a lot tonight.
I think the whole night was about Josh Laxer, who's tremendous in his best college outing of the year, and really proud of him. He threw with the best velocity, best command that he had all year.
All right, Ole Miss will be back at it tomorrow at home against Murray State. Aslan, back to you.
Thank you. Playoff push time in the prep ranks. The Academies took center stage tonight in semifinal action on the diamond. Jackson Academy's Matt Denny tapped into his inner Michael Jordan as he staved off illness to take the bump for the Raiders. Denny tested positive for mononucleosis on Friday, but the kid's a warrior. He went the distance tonight against top-seeded Parkland Academy. Raiders nursing a 1-0 lead in the 6th, but the Pioneers find some pop. Shane McKinley sizzles one down the line. That's going to bring in Matthew Artiguez, and we are tied at 1. Parkland would seize the moment in the 6th. The rally would stay alive off the bat of sophomore Tanner Whittington. Pioneers go up 2-1. Denny, though, gutsy effort by the Ole Miss-bound hurler. He had 6 punch-outs on the night to stop the bleeding. Raiders would go down in order in the 6th. And in the 7th, McKinley would strike out the side as Parkland Academy knocks off JA 2-1. This series resumes Thursday in Macomb. Now to Lakeland Drive, pretty old sunset as MRA and Prep hooked horns. Prep took a 1-0 lead in the 2nd, but we came back with the other Patriots. Corey Ollinger gets a dribbler to linger past the infield. This one would score 2 runs. It would make it a 3-1 game. MRA actually ends up winning this one in a final of 4-2. And folks, we try to make you laugh and entertain you every now and then on this sportscast, but there's no way to ignore what happened earlier today with Michael Walter, the Pearl officer who was tragically taken today. His first love was actually sports. He was a standout in baseball. He was drafted by the Houston Astros. We'll be right back after this with another look at weather. You're watching 16 WAPT News at 10.
All right, much needed rain tomorrow afternoon.
Sounds good. Thank you, David.
That's our news at 10.
Have a great night.
We want to hear from you, so like us on Facebook for all your local news and weather, and talk to us about the things taking place in our community.